Coming over the system, how can I help my child? Why is this important? I used to do tons of these videos. Subject I need to go over, but I was talking about working with myself and pushing. And one of the things you see with cerebral palsy is they really have a hard time, especially when they start to combine forces from themselves into another object, like pushing open a door. Usually the door wins, and then they get that pushed back, and that's where people start, they don't have a high startle reflex. That's not where it comes from, folks. But anyway, coming over the system comes in a lot of things. It starts with your birth. The birthing process of your baby coming out, coming over your system. The baby is leaving you, going into its own world. And from that establishes what I call the absolute horizon, where you can take your baby and place him down in the crib and into your arms and do all these things and pass him to somebody, and they just kind of float in space. Right? From there, they also quickly get exposed to the tummy time. Tummy time exposure should happen immediately after birth, which it usually does because you've just given birth and a baby is put right on your chest. We talk about the skin to skin and so forth, but again, your baby is with you, and that's what happens. Right? But tummy time with supervision needs to happen right away. Part of the reason is because it opens up your facial bones. When your baby is on their tummy, not propped and all that sort of stuff, but when they're getting true tummy time, right, that they're you think that they're just laying down, but what they're doing is they're going to and fro. Now this is an adult skull, but it's easier for you to see. When they go to and fro, do you see this one straight line in the human body? That's your nasal septum, right? That nasal septum, really similar to like pushing your hand through sand, right, will start to go through gravity. And your face will move from side to side, right? But what's happening is your facial bones open up, and your facial bones open up. This gets really traumatized in hospitalizations, especially when there's intubation and cannulation or anything to do with the Tegaderm tape on the, and so because it really interrupts the facial muscles. Lots of times with intubation, you'll get a look like this, because they've actually jammed the ethmoid bone. It's the bone inside your nose, and they jam it when they put in that intubation, right? And this is where you have to undo that. So again, this is where you have to understand that you're looking for the hand to reach here, and you don't realize, again, if you have an ethmoid jam, you're not pushing with the hand. It shuts down the system. There's certain movements that can be impaired or traumatized in the human body that will just shut down the system. And an ethmoid jam is one of them. So if you ever see, so especially you'll see them a lot with near drowning or intubation kiddos, and they look like little sparrows. When they look like little sparrows, another way we start coming over the system is for food. Now, this will start with breastfeeding. This is why nursing is so important, because your child is starting to come over their system, their bodies, to come to your tissue. They're looking for food, right? When you bottle feed a baby, and this is where, again, I owe someone an email, but I've been jammed. I didn't know this. In England, you're taught to do it like this. What milestone do you think you're working on, other than that there's intake of liquids? There's no coming over the system here, but you can bottle feed your baby in every position. What I don't like also about bottle feed, guys, we all have to bottle feed. I get it. You have to understand what movements might have been missed in your child, and that's where we come in, and you might want to start working on those kind of movements. And this is like in the Suck Swallow course, where they're learning how to come, just like this, over their system. They do not seek food when it's a bottle. A bottle goes to them, and one of the worst mistakes on the bottle feeding is you give too big of a bottle, because you don't want to get up, and you're sitting there with this 12-ounce bottle on a newborn baby, and again, you affect speech. A lot of people go, "Is my baby tongue-tied?" No, the tongue back here trying to stop the milk, and versus getting that, all those kind of movements that are meant to happen. You'll eventually will jump the gun of sitting independently. Sitting independently is not meant to be propped, because again, they're not coming over their system. Sitting independently, a child's meant to be like, ooh, what's going on there? Ooh. And they're learning how to come over their system. They're learning how to reach and cross midline and do all those kind of things. And then they have coming to sitting, right? That again is coming over their system. They're now going from a horizontal point into a vertical point. They're coming over their system. We eat corn on the cob. We go to our food, and you want those kind of movements. And this is why a visual convergence is so important. If you don't have visual convergence, those eyes working together, coming forward or going away, it will affect, again, going on a swing, right? Doing monkey bars, riding a bicycle. And you're thinking, lady, I'm just going to be happy if my kid walks. I understand that, guys, but these movements still need to be a part of our system. And these movements, especially coming over the system, are not going to happen on a child's own, especially when it's been traumatized. If your child goes to do this and they feel they're going to lose their balance, they'll lock this down. They will lock it down. You can blame it on the wheelchair. You can blame the scoliosis. You can blame all of that sort of stuff. If your child is working, preventing movements like a fall or a vestibular impact, this is not flight or flight. This is just pure intelligence. No child wants to face plant, right? They're not going to do it. They will shut down that part of their system. And that's where we have to identify where the system's been shut down and how we're going to help the child. So to say that there's just one lesson to do for your child in anything, no. If you want to do one lesson or two, water bowl technique and work that spine. Start coordinating the head with the spine. Absolutely. But you really have to understand, and that's what the brilliance of this is where to help your child and where do I work, right? But if you go at it that you have to fix the brain or you have to, no, the movement dictates how the brain's going to organize and how it's going to fix itself, and that's where you want to go. Thanks.